clearly you're brilliant enough to be like, all right, I don't have to go out there with my sword swinging. I can take a softer approach and still get the same message across, because like you just said, goodness is ultimately going to be the one to prevail, if you truly believe that.
It's interesting because I don't find myself to be offensive. I just think
everybody else does.
I know. And I think the reason for that is because people don't like hearing the truth.
But I don't think there's this ultimate puppet master. I've looked for the group. I can't find that physical group.
Well, I'm telling you that the CIA is a part of a group and a global conspiracy to control, to enslave mankind. I will not accept. The conspiracy to me is to try to convince me that the times have changed, and we went from, in the Black community, producing Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston to what really Black people really want to hear right now is Sexy Red.
Session 2. Hopefully some healing from the fire that we started in session 1 with Candace Owens. My goal is focus on compassion. Let's lead with love. Let's go. Back again on another edition of Counsel Culture, a brave space, a safe place to have open dialogue. And, you know, we feel together, we reveal together so we can heal together. That's the whole purpose. And I am joined once again by the fearless and the powerful Candace Owens. Welcome back. Our last session ended where you were speaking your truth and some evident truths that, you know, a lot of people don't want to hear or agree with. And I ended with a question which I want to start with is like, one, being so fearless, how do you function through every day? I mean, you're also a mom of 3, and I mean, even I was surprised to, even when you showed up, I was like, it's regular, it's normal. And all that's going on in the world, you know what I mean? I would expect you to be traveling with Secret Service just because of the type of things you speak on, the people that you speak on, and you do it in such a fearless way. How do you get away with that?
Well, the first thing is I know enough about history to know that if they want to kill you, the Secret Service ain't going to stop them. That's the first part. You know what I mean? If that was a thing, then JFK would be alive, right? If that was a thing, Trump wouldn't have gotten shot. And so it's almost to me, the security part is vanity for other people. It doesn't actually make a difference. But the second thing is I have faith in God. I know God is real. So there is this understanding that I'm always operating with, that this is not it. And I feel sad for people that don't know that God is real, because I know that they don't believe God is real because of this intentional training that happened in the public school system. It's why your grandparents were faithful. Going back to Tucker Carlson clip where he's like, don't you think it's weird that since the dawn of humanity, everybody knew that spiritual forces were at play, goodness and evil were at play, every civilization, and then suddenly post-World War II in the West, we were like, no, God's not real. And they started training you to believe in yourself. And that gets into all types of satanic religions that want to drive you towards humanism. They want that to be the ultimate faith, to place your faith in humans, to place your faith in science, and to not believe in God, like literally to not believe in God. And people, it's funny to me because they will be like, I don't believe in God. Like, and they think it's a rational position to have, but these will be the same people that believe so much in government. Like atheists are the most faithful people in the entire world. They will, like what I was saying, hopping on one foot for COVID, trying to stay alive. They don't ask any questions, roll up their sleeve, get a vaccine. I'm like, bro, you got faith. It's just in humans, like, you know, in the ultimate form, scientism. And they've realized that, and they know that they can control you. I mean, the stuff that you see people doing, it should make you very aware that they have faith, that there is no such thing as atheism. There's just faith in man.
Yeah, you've definitely spoken out that you're, you know, anti-scientism, and scientism being the religion of science. But most people who rely and believe in science look at people who believe in God and spirituality as kooks and also slaves to, oh, you're just going to go with these traditional rituals that have been placed in books and theories that really are based off of allegories. I'd rather go based off of scientific evidence of things that have been proven. Yeah. What do you say to that?
I think that they probably should know that the Enlightenment was not enlightened. It was the darkening of mankind. the Dark Ages were not dark. They were actually an age of tremendous Christian enlightenment, and all of that stuff has been intentionally buried, and they are very much focused, moving the Bible out of the classroom. It used to be taught, and they want you to believe in nothing other than what they tell you. If you think, and I'll just give you just a perfect example. My children are not vaxxed. I am anti-vax, whatever name the science people are coming up with.
Right.
And it's just stunning to me that they were able to convince people that their babies are born wrong. Like, as soon as your baby comes out, science can fix it. Like, what do you mean? My baby just came out. You're talking about, well,
Right.
they instantly need a Hep B vaccine. Wait a second, isn't hepatitis B, like, isn't that an STD? Yes, but they need this because, I'm like, this makes zero sense. You're just in the cult of science. It's stupid. The idea that God got it wrong, it's wild. And the funny thing is that the logic that they will apply to themselves for listening to science, they wouldn't even apply it to an animal. Like, if they were suddenly like, every lion that's born, or every lion that's born, we have to intervene and do something, PETA would be outside tomorrow freaking out, like, leave them naturally in their, but us, forget it. They legitimately believe that vaccines are keeping their babies alive from the second they come out. That's scientism. That's a cult, right? You are part of a cult and a religion, and you don't understand the science of it at all. If I debate, when I say people call me an anti-vaxxer, I invite them on my show. They never come. The doctors, they never come. I'm like, I know how you get paid. I know every child is a check for you if they go through this system and they keep it, and it's all being funded by Big Pharma. And it is my belief that all of these pollutions, again, because I know that the spirit is real, that all of it is to pull you further away from what would actually be a very natural recognition within yourself. Like, you would feel that normally, you would feel this spiritual draw, this spiritual incline. They've lied to you. COVID, you should apply that logic and know that that system of lying was easier when there was no independent media.
Yeah, there's brainwashing. I believe you even spoke of like psychological terrorism.
It is.
That where if they're constantly trying to scare us into control, which I don't disagree on that, but I don't think there's this ultimate puppet master or this group of guys. I've looked for the group. I want to know who these guys are that are so rich and powerful that they pass it on to their, their offspring and their bloodlines, and they're all keeping the darkness in the world going. I can't find that physical group.
Well, I'm telling you that the CIA is a part of a group and a global conspiracy to enslave mankind. So let's just go small picture here. The CIA, definitively. Okay. Definitively is a part of the small group of people that are controlling.
So
things,
then the CIA technically is bipartisan, right?
Okay, they're not bipartisan. That's the whole point. That they are not Democrat or Republican. This is like the gang. This is the gang that won. And you know what he said before he got shot in Dallas next to his wife as he was going down the street that day? JFK said he was going to scatter the CIA into 1 million pieces because it was corrupt. And then unfortunately, he was involved in an accident. And that accident was he was shot. And the person who shot him said, I didn't shoot him. That was Lee Harvey Oswald. But then before he could testify about what did not happen, he was killed by a man named Jacob Rubenstein. And that guy, believe it or not, was MK Ultra'd. Before he could stand trial, he was deemed insane because a doctor working for the CIA went in there and gave him a cocktail of medicine to make him crazy. Now, what's funny about this is Kanye told me years ago, because I am not a person, I have to learn things in a book. I need to order the right books. I love to read. But he said something to me, and it sounded wild when he said it to me, that they like made him bipolar. I think he said that, and I don't want to misquote him, but he said something like they made me bipolar, and he was on one of his rants, and it was difficult for me to kind of discern what he meant. And I was there with him when Harley Pashnik was texting him like a totally normal trainer saying, we're going to put you back into a hospital and you'll never see your kids again. Totally normal for your gym trainer to be saying that to you. Totally normal stuff. I think he's an issue. But anyways, he had said that, and that did not make sense to me. I don't want to say it sounded crazy. It just didn't make sense to me. Then I read that book, Chaos. And that guy who got the FOIA requests and declassified the documents and read the conversations between the heads of the CIA and Dr. Sidney Gottlieb. And yeah, they wrote that they could give people schizophrenia, they could give people bipolar disorder via a cocktail of medicine. They can literally induce mental illness via a cocktail of medicine. So this reporter who did this book, by the way, he was like, not at all a conspiracy theorist. He was just a writer for Premiere magazine, and his name was Tom O'Neill. He was tasked rather by his editor to just write a quick like 30-year anniversary 30-year anniversary magazine article on the Manson murders. And he was like, oh, this is going to be so boring. I've tapped this 1,000 times. It ended up taking him 22 years.
Wow.
Because he was like, this doesn't make sense. And then he FOIA request. He ended up getting fired from there. Book deal fell through. He dedicated 22 years of his life to investigating what the hell happened on that night that Americans were told there were these heinous murders that happened. And everything he learned was that there were operatives there that night. The judges were on the payroll, police officers, all, by the way, very much the same. And we don't need to get into this right now, but in what's been put out in that Diddy lawsuit, it's literally the same area that's happening. Like LA's got a lot of shady stuff happening here, a lot of evil stuff happening here, a lot of satanic stuff happening here. I wouldn't want to be an enemy of the CIA and live in LA. I'll say that for free. Like I wouldn't want to live here because I believe that they obviously do have LAPD police officers that are working for them. And a lot of the stuff that Kanye was saying that didn't make sense now makes perfect sense to me. But now I have okay, I read this book and I've seen the files, and thankfully this journalist dedicated 22 years of his life to present to the public. You have to learn it. It's scary, but you have to confront it. But don't be scared also, because in the end, goodness does win. And that's where just the spirit of Christ comes in. Like, I know how this story ends. These people are evil. These people are demonic. These people are poisoning you. They are poisoning your children. They are poisoning your psychology every day. They have poisoned Black music. Is also what I want to say. That was my instinct. I was like, this is not Black music. Why am I hearing what sounds demonic coming out of people's mouths and what they're speaking about? And some artists have spoken out about the fact that they're being told to produce demonic music.
See, and again, I'm glad you brought that up. The overarching, I believe either you said something like this in the past, but I know I'm paraphrasing here, that we probably believe the same thing, that ignorance, fear, and confusion is the devil's dominion. In that sense, so that's where we're easily controlled, when we don't know, when we're scared, or when we're confused. And a lot of what I hear you saying is that it's not rooted in what we would deem as factual. Like you're an avid reader like me. Like I'll read anything and try to understand it, but it's also like, all right, well, show me the evidence, which normally is like science, of that there are people controlling us through our music. Now, as a faith-based individual and someone I truly believe in spiritual warfare, I at least for my own psyche, I can say, okay, I'll see what's happening in Black music and in hip hop. I don't think there's a secret meeting going on and I've even heard about the secret meeting. I'm like, why? I want to know who was in those meetings that they were saying, I need you to say all of the horrible things about Black men and Black women. I need you to put satanic influences into songs and signs and symbolism. Like, to me, that is an energy that, or a spirit that can come upon people to make you want to do that, especially based off of their circumstances. If all I know is pain, strife, anger, hate, I'm going to now, put that back out or regurgitate that to my own community. And that in itself is a cycle of darkness and low frequency that we can be removed from. But to say that there's like these secret people coming in and telling us,
I don't think they're secret. I don't think they're secret at all. And there have been multiple artists that have spoken out and said that producers have encouraged them to.
But yeah, that's an individual.
But is that not to believe them?
That's an individual. So
sure,
because like I said, I can find the devil in gospel music if I wanted to. But I can also say, I can find the good in every aspect, whether it's Hollywood or not. Like, there's multiple things where if we even understand what entertainment was designed for, it ultimately is to relieve us of the stresses that everyday life brings upon us.
Right.
So again, you operate each and every day in a space of like, look, I'm on the front lines and I'm literally trying to help people understand and get clarity and hear the truth. But when that becomes confusing or it becomes rhetoric, and now I just see people with great brilliance just arguing back and forth about things that ultimately are not creating any gain for either one of the individuals, except for maybe ego to say, oh, I was right, or oh, I read this. Like, knowing your position and knowing what you can offer to the world, how do you differentiate between like, all right, I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm gonna do nothing but speak, against, the trans community, or I'm gonna speak against Black Lives Matter, or whatever that at the moment where you can say, clearly you're brilliant enough to be like, all right, I don't have to go out there with my sword swinging. I can take a softer approach. I can accept, I can love everyone, give everyone an opportunity, and still get the same message across, because like you just said, goodness is ultimately going to be the one to prevail if you truly believe that.
Yeah, well, goodness prevails when good speaks out. We can't just sit back and do nothing when we see it, and we have to call it like we see it.
You're gonna be like Peter and just go cut everybody's ear off.
Yeah, I'm not even.
But Jesus was like, Peter, fall back. Give my man his ear because he needs to hear this process.
I think it's interesting because I don't find myself to be offensive. I just think
everybody else does.
I know. That is correct. And I think the reason for that is because people don't like hearing the truth. And I think it's because they know it's the truth deep down and they have like a visceral response.
And I would agree with you. I would definitely agree with you until we start jumping into these spaces that sound very conspiracy theory. I used to be that guy. I was that guy that was like, they're trying to tear us down. And then to your point, which you often speak of, that becomes a victim-like mentality. So my message started to often being like, yes, the world's fucked up. Yes, there's so many, there's more enemies than we know. But I know the God within me and the God that I serve is gonna have them all fall into my feet when I walk into the room, because I know the energy that I possess.
Yeah.
So therefore, I don't have to come in guns blazing, because if we know the truth and we know ultimately that goodness will prevail, then why can't I lead with love and cut them off with compassion?
Well, I just don't think it's guns a-blazing to say, only women can give birth. And that's what I'll say, and people will lose their minds. Like that, I will be like,
but you'll say that in a setting of people who can't give birth.
But my point is just that it's just the truth. I'm not even here like, I'm not showing up where people are at and in their faces. They just don't know how to accept my audacity to just keep saying the truth. That is what, because I've thought about this. What is it about me that people are so triggered by? And it's my audacity. Right. Because we live in a world where people will bend to the spirit of evil. They will bend to the spirit of nonsense. They will allow every part of their reason to be stripped away so that they can fit in. And again, this gets into, and this is not conspiracy. In fact, we should stop using the word conspiracy theorist, because we know that was a CIA term that they entered into the lexicon following the shooting of JFK. So they say the word conspiracy theory. That's all.
But the theory is the only thing that's the problem. The conspiracy to conspire is not an issue.
Yeah, but that is the truth. And that is why we should just call it out when we see it. This is what's happening. These people are conspiring. Like, that's what I do. And here's a document you can look at to see when they've done it in the past, and this is what's happening now. And I also listen to people. I don't gaslight people. So if an artist comes to me and says, I've been told to record something demonic, or I had a conversation with Amber Rose, and she a couple of weeks ago, and it was a lot of her telling me that she was basically just being pushed by people that you need to be more sexual, you need to be more sexual. I accept that obviously at a certain point, and this gets into why you were saying why I won't bend for money, I wouldn't do it. I'm built different, But I also acknowledge that these people are being pushed in a certain direction. Women, you're being told, can you make it sexier? I will not accept. The conspiracy to me is to try to convince me that the times have changed, and we went from, in the Black community, producing Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston to what really Black people really want to hear right now is Sexy Red. And so that's the reason why these record labels are going to Sexy Red and offering her a deal. I refuse to believe that. Okay, so yes, power is held by these labels when they go out, and I don't mean that as any disrespect to her. What I am saying is that frequencies are real.
Yeah,
okay?
Exactly.
Frequencies impact your spirit. You and I know that.
There's been brothels and strip clubs and stuff since the oldest
but
profession
I'm talking
is
about music.
so,
right?
Okay, and like you said,
I'm talking, yes, and you are correct, but Confucius said, listen to the music.
And you'll be able to know the
and there's a reason for that.
Society.
He knew this. This Chinese philosopher knew this back when, and this people who, in my viewpoint, have a lot of power in the music industry also understand that. There is no reason to fight to put filth on the airways and then try to convince people that it's free speech.
Because it's
in fact,
profitable.
I will tell you a non-conspiracy that you can look up right now, and I'm going to blank on his name, but there is a guy, and if I grab my phone, I'll be able to look it up for you. Literally on his Wikipedia page, it literally says, we created pornography, because I believe the eyes and the ears are the window to the soul, to crush Christianity. He said in an open statement, this is why we created pornography. This is why we and this was back in the 70s. He was the person that brought hardcore porn to the scene. He was like, this is the reason why, to crush Christianity. He said this openly. So it's not a conspiracy when a person is telling you why they control the pornography industry and what they're trying to do. And pornography impacts spirit. Okay?
Pornography
it
definitely
is
impacts
making
spirit.
people want more demented and more deranged. They don't even know what healthy sex is. All of this is not by accident. So when they outwardly tell you what they're doing, and I'm going to get his name for you because I want to make sure that people can look this up.
It'll be in the comments.
On his Wikipedia, where he literally said that. This is why we control the pornography industry, to crush Christ. We hate Catholics and we hate Christianity. Now you say today, is that a conspiracy? If I quote him, and I'm gonna have to get his name because otherwise people are gonna be like, what is his name? What's his name? And I'll pin it whenever you put this episode out.
Yeah.
But I thought there's no way this person. Sure enough, he said it. I'll tell you who he is. He was the founder of Screw Magazine.
Right. I mean, and that sounds logical. Like, to me, that's not as far-fetched as there's the
conspiracy is against
agenda.
Christ. That's my belief. I believe, and that's why I say you have to start with understanding that there is a conspiracy.
Okay.
Okay? But it's not a conspiracy theory. There is a conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy.
And it is a conspiracy against Christ. Okay? Which is why I say,
Spiritual
how is
warfare.
Hollywood, how is it plausible that it is a literal inversion of the Bible? They don't agree with one point, not even one point of the Bible. We can't even say women and men are different anymore. Like, can we agree on one point? They're like, no, we have to take the Bible and say everything about it is wrong.
But can we zoom out just a little bit? And just even to your point, if there's a conspiracy against Christ, which is your spiritual beliefs of like, this is the right way to live your life, the good way.
The way, the truth, and the light.
The truth and the life. There's a balance in that sense of like, there's good and evil. So in that, why can't we just say, because you're talking spirituality, you're not talking individualism. You're not saying that this individual is looking to, or even like the man that you just described, he was saying he has such a visceral response to organized religion or whatever, Catholicism, that he was saying, I'm going to do something in this space to therefore try to tear that down, which we know he can't tear it down because it's the ultimate power. It's the truth, the way, and the light. So we can point fingers at that individual, but you can't say that he's he's the one ultimately controlling all things evil just because he's the one that spoke out against
No, but I was just saying that if I had not produced, this is one of the founders of pornography in America. So like, how do we get to this? How do we start from everyone's going to church, families are together, to now OnlyFans, right? Pornography was introduced into the American psyche for a reason, and it is in a war against your spirit. It is meant to disrupt your relationships. It's meant to pollute the idea of monogamy. It is a weapon. I want to be very clear. Pornography is a weapon. Okay? I'm going to have you look up Sav, founder of Screw Magazine. Al Goldstein.
Yeah.
Go to his Wikipedia page. You'll find the direct quote of what Al Goldstein said. I actually want you to find the direct quote of what Al Goldstein said about Christianity. Now, if I had said it and it wasn't Al Goldstein, I'd be called a conspiracy theorist. Right? This is one of the weapons. Pornography is one of the weapons that is being used against Christ. And people today, you have to go all the way back and now people go, oh, it's about First Amendment. This is not about the First Amendment. Okay? Watching people essentially, what I would say is act out a demonic fetish is not, okay, they understand that it's real, but they're going to tell you that this is just free speech. No, You are watching
liberation.
This is not liberation. This is enslavement. You are watching rituals. Demons are jumping inside of you when you watch this stuff. Now, I wouldn't have said this when I was in high school, because I learned in high school, in health class, in sex ed, that it's healthy to watch a little bit of porn. Do you not see a conspiracy in that?
It's a little healthy to know what's going on.
No, it's not, because that's not what's going on. They're setting your tastes.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. These are the taste makers. They are setting your tastes. This is not normal, and it's getting more and more deranged. So when you see this explosion of men that are homosexual, my husband has a theory that all pornography is homosexual porn because men are watching other men have sex with other women. But anyways, the point is that it's inspiring people to want more and more deranged, demented things. They pursue that. It is a demon that possesses you. And what they do is they very slowly introduce more demonic things. So it used to be, it's just pornography, a woman and a man having sex. At least it's a woman and a man having sex. Then it became like, it's going to be gay. Then it became, now it's going to be trans. Then it came, oh, she's going to dress up like she's 14 years old. That is introducing to the palate pedophilia. Okay? And that's the same thing. You had the quotation?
Is it the one that says the only reason that Jews are in pornography is that we think that Christ sucks?
Direct quotes.
But
Direct
that's
quote.
the one that
So,
you were.
what?
He has a lot of really wild quotes.
But
I know,
again,
but
so
he's
you-
one of the founders, of the earliest people that brought hardcore pornography to America. So it's like, to me, it's so patronizing when people are like, it's a conspiracy, when he can just outwardly say what he was doing. He told you what he was doing. And listen, again, he's one person. Now, I think where you say...
That's all I was saying,
exactly.
is just one person
But
of
that-
him,
but-
or
but
whether
it's
you bring up him or Margaret Sanger or whoever, the individuals that can have took something and demonized it.
But they brought it. It wasn't demonized. It is demonic. They brought something that was demonic to American culture that did not exist before it, with a very clear understanding of why he was bringing it.
So let's
Then they fought to
thread
get
this
laws
thing.
passed to allow pornography more freedom than it's ever reigned. So it's like, you can't ignore these steps.
So let's
and
thread
then
this thing,
say-
because I need to make this clear, because my ultimate thing where I was strongly disagreeing with you is that we were saying that there's this ultimate group of individuals, like whatever dude's name was, that are saying, oh, we're all conspiring together to bring evil to the world and to fight against Christ. Now, if there's just one sick
It's not one sick individual. There's
and
a
they're
group.
all of it, they all in a group in a room together.
Not in a room together. They're like, I believe, and this is after I did an episode on this, which people should watch, about the origins of NASA. Satanic, literal satanic art. Okay, so you can't sit here and ignore the fact that literal Satanists, and I believe that it was this group of people. The religion was called Thelema, Satanic. Aleister Crowley is a name that people are familiar with. They established NASA. They were saying satanic chants every time they were lighting a rocket in the desert over here in California, in Pasadena, or actually Devil's Canyon. And they were open about the fact that they were having demonic sexual rituals, believe that they had summoned demons. This is not a conspiracy. This is on Wikipedia too. Look it up. Look up Jack Parsons and what he contributed to NASA. What is NASA? Nobody knows. This is a conspiracy to say, that we didn't go to the moon. Okay, well, we didn't. Okay, it was a psychological operation so that they could just take trillions and trillions of dollars and nobody knows where it's going. It's a black op.
So when someone who's watching this,
Black
obviously
budget.
the people in the comments, they're going to be like, yo, she's crazy.
They're not actually, because I think people are now awake to this. Look it up yourself.
There's some people that are going to agree
No,
with.
I'm telling you who you can look up. So go watch my episode on the satanic origins of NASA. It's not a conspiracy. Openly, Jack Parsons was considered the protege of Aleister Crowley. These were literal Satanists, right? He wrote an entire book. They believed they had summoned demons. He was trying to get a woman who was a virgin pregnant via satanic rituals that were happening out here in California. He wrote to Aleister Crowley that he was going to produce a moon child, as he called it. This is on Wikipedia. I'm not like Reddit threading you guys here. You can look this up. Jack Parsons, he did this, and then he said he was successful, that he got this woman pregnant, and he called it his moon child. They were having these sexual rituals right out here in Los Angeles, in Pasadena, and they were getting caught when the police would come over. They were being funded by universities. They were being funded by the government. The government gave him a deal to be able to do this. So again, the Gutenberg family, Guggenheim family also funded him in his experiments, and he was openly a Satanist. So I'm not saying stuff because I want you to become a conspiracy theorist. I'm saying stuff because I want you to at least begin doing some surface Wikipedia searches, because we are not going to win if you're too afraid to call these things what they are, which is satanic. We are fighting a spiritual battle. The conspiracy is against Christ.
So I'll go here a little further, because when we speak of spiritual warfare, we know that to be real, but people come from different walks of life and have different beliefs in where the spirits enter and what's demonic, what's satanic, what's not. You know, even based off of all of the 40,000 different denominations of Christianity. There's certain things that we believe we can do that we can't do based off of our traditions and how we're picked up. But in ultimate, when we're in this current day and age and we're sitting here and we're in cancel culture, and like I said, I was saying, like, there's gonna be some people that are like, oh, she's crazy, but then there's gonna be some people that are like, yo,
Wikipedia.
But they're saying, yo, we're scared of her. She's saying things that we have to silence her.
Mm-hmm. Well, this gets into your fears because you were canceled.
I was canceled. And like in a very similar thing. That's kind of what I was gonna bring up based off of what I learned. You know what I mean?
Did you learn, or were you like Kyrie Irving, 6 steps back to your life type thing?
Because to this day, I leaned into everything I said, from whether sitting with, Minister Farrakhan, who told me that if there's something that I said that wasn't true, do away with it. But if it's truth, continue to speak truth to power. And in that sense, I have a podcast with the CEO of the ADL, and Jonathan and I have difficult conversations and go back and forth, because it's like, if I believe something to be true and it's my truth, I don't care who hears it. Now, and to your point, and because it happened to you as well, where someone can take, we're sitting here, and because it's probably gonna happen with this interview.
With me.
We're sitting here and we're saying things in the goal to counsel people, but someone would take a clip and say you said this or said this like this. They're gonna be you called a certain group of people satanic, and
they literally said, like, I'm
just talking about what's gonna happen.
And by the way, I'd like calling them satanic because it's not Christianity, it's not Judaism, it's not Islam. Okay, that's important. They actually they're hiding within all of these religions, and they get people to react. So it's like, this dude obviously is not a follower of the Torah, right? He happens to be Jewish, but he's obviously not a follower of the Torah. No, look, a follower of the Torah would not be saying what he's saying. Jack Parsons, I believe, on paper, his parents were Christian, right? But he's not representative of the Christian community. He worships Satan. I mean, he worshipped Aleister Crowley's religion, which was known as the Lema.
So to get back to what I was kind of zoning in on, and when we have every right intention to spread truth, to put, hopefully, I don't want to get on a high horse, or like to save people from damnation or being influenced by Satan and demons, but our own rhetoric is used against us to call us hateful, to say that we're anti-Semitic, or to say that we're self-hating, or we've been broken, and all of the things, Uncle Tom's, where ultimately, like, and we said this in our last session, and I say this here, where I don't see in our exchange of energy and even discourse, I don't see someone hateful. I don't see someone with an agenda to whatever they think your agenda is. I see someone who's really trying to help and educate people, someone who's brilliant and wants everyone else to read what she's read, knows what she knows. But like me, like you, when you can say something that offends someone and someone's emotions get involved, then that becomes the story. That becomes the attack on Candace Owens, opposed to your ultimate mission where you were really just trying to help people. So what I learned through the process is, and it's funny, as a father, I learned this and deal with this with my son, is like, when you start throwing rocks and someone gets hit by a rock that you weren't intending to hit with that rock, you still got to apologize. You still have to understand the power in which you have. Your voice is so strong. The words, the knowledge that you have, that if you, not even if you say it the wrong, if you say it correctly, they're going to dice it up and use it for evil. And in that sense, if you want to continue the mission of good, if you want to continue the mission of God, you have to you got to rise to a higher frequency and say, you know what? I apologize that I hurt you. And
I can't do that. If I told the truth and you got hurt by it, I can't apologize.
Why?
I absolutely refuse to do that.
What is stopping the goodness in me?
Because then I would be lying. I'm
to
never
say
sorry when I tell someone the truth. I'm never sorry when I tell someone the truth. No,
You're a mother.
I'm a mother, yeah.
And you know your children's feelings.
We're not dealing with children. That's the problem. We're dealing with adults.
Yeah.
So the idea of me of apologizing because, and this is funny because I was texting earlier with Ray J. He saw a clip of me and Don Lemon, and he was saying,
That's a hilarious clip. Just you texting with Ray J.
And Don Lemon was looking for an apology. Oh, this clip. Oh. Yeah. And Don Lemon was looking for an apology, but Ray J, I guess, was saying that he knew some trans women. And I'm like...
Or he has a whole trans network.
And it's just whatever he's doing there, to me, is demonic. It's demonic. It's because it's a lie. Okay? And so I was like, yes, let's have a conversation. Of course, respectfully. If you say to me you should respect people, I always respect people. I would disrespect you if I lied to you. I'm not going to call a man a woman. I'm not going to call a woman a man. I'm not going to say sorry for telling the truth. Your
beliefs.
It's not my belief. A woman cannot be a man. A man cannot be a woman. It's not a belief.
But I'm saying in your perception of the world is different from someone else's perspective, because just as emphatic as you are, that you believe what you just said, there's someone that believes emphatically the opposite. Okay,
so what you're talking about is the idea that everything can be subjective and there's no such thing as truth. And let me tell you why that. But that's why it's either yes or a no.
No, because we're either talking about feelings or facts.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I believe there is objective truth. Okay.
Okay.
A person that is born a man, okay, a person that is born with a penis, as we call it, okay, cannot ever grow up and give birth. Do we agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so there is such thing as an objective truth. I will not apologize for sharing objective truth. I'm not going to apologize for not saying because his feelings are hurt and do you see how I feel? Because
so you have no problem going throughout the world hurting people's feelings.
I have no problem going out the world. That's one way to pitch it. Telling people the truth so that they can better their lives. So they can live in reality and not the fantasy land that they're creating for their lives. But what if someone
believes that is a better life for them?
Okay, well, let's play it your way then. Let's do it the other way. There are a group of people who are now referring to themselves as minor attracted people.
Oh, I knew you was going. Can't go there.
Hey, but that's what they believe. They believe that they are in love and want to have sex with children. They believe that, Nick. They believe it. And are you going to apologize when you call them pedophiles? Are you going to apologize, Nick? Are you going to have them on your podcast?
It's a hell of
Don't you understand how they feel on the inside when you say that they can't have sex with 8-year-olds?
That is a hell of a point.
It is. The slippery slope is not a fallacy. It is reality. We are living the slippery slope. So somebody's going to have to produce the wall. So there's going to be a lot of voices that need to be objective and tell people the truth. I'm very happy to be those voices. If you're looking for me to, make you feel good, I can't be your mommy. I can't. That's why I tell people, I can't be your mommy.
But see, that's what I say.
I'm not your mommy. You're not a toddler. You're an adult.
But see,
this is what truth is. And if you can't deal with truth, then you're going to have a very tough life, way tougher than having to listen to Candace Owens say, you are a man on the internet.
So, but again, in your ultimate goal, what is your ultimate goal?
For my children to grow up in a world that is still dictated by reality and not feelings, because that's the thing. We are passing this world off. So you have to appreciate that we're now the adults. We're the adults in the room, right? And right now we have a bunch of adults who are too scared to even say the truth. So forget the generations who had to find within themselves the strength to go to a foreign country and potentially die fighting for freedom. We're now a generation where it's so easy for us to preserve freedom. It's so easy for us to preserve righteousness. We just have to be willing to be called mean names on the internet and have mean articles written about me. People say to me, oh, Candace, how do you deal with all this hate? I don't care. Literally, I don't care. It's like I really hope people listening to this understand, before you even write that comment, how little of a shit I give about it. Like, I want you to know that when you're writing it, whatever about her, I just don't care. And it shocks people because you know why? I live my life with real truth, right? I have a husband who loves me. I have 3 healthy children. I am close with my sisters. My cousin's here. She does my makeup. Like, the Bible kind of gets it right. If you start living by the Bible, you will have this same confidence. You will find the audacity. You will realize this is not it. So you might as well contribute truth, because you're going to meet your maker. You are going to meet your creator one day. And your creator is not, whatever organization, the SBL, I think I'm on the SBLC's list, the ADL list. I just don't care. right? They shouldn't put together these lists. They shouldn't waste their time putting me on their list because I literally don't give a shit, you know? And so that's why they hate me the most, because they know I don't fear them. I fear telling a lie. That's what I fear. That's my fear in life.
Wow. So, but and people's feelings don't matter to you whatsoever.
I'm just not their mommies.
But again, because the point that I was making, we'll wrap this session up as well. But the only point that I was making, in someone who has such a strong faith, and is attempting to be as Christ-like as possible, to go waving that sword at everybody that doesn't agree with you. And because ultimately you're hurting their feelings. They're crying. There's an adverse reaction to what you're saying because it hurts them in their well-being. You're speaking to some people that's all they know. That's all they are. Now, if I'm really trying to operate on the highest frequency, I'm like, I'm going to let you do you. Unless you come into my space with something that will then harm me, who am I to judge what you do with your life? Especially if I'm attempting to be the one that's saying, hey, I am a light. Let my reflection shine to you, so then maybe we can have discourse or whatever. But if I'm out there spewing things at a community, then
I'm not spewing things at a community. I get asked a question and I answer it. And that's the wildest part. People will literally ask me what I think, like Don Lemon did.
Yeah,
and
I saw
gave him an answer.
But
and then
that
people
wasn't.
oh my gosh, I can't believe she has the audacity to say this stuff. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think, because you said you believed he was sinning based off of
his homosexual marriage. He is sinning.
But everybody's sinning. You if you eat some bacon today, you sinning. Like
to be very clear, he then raised the point that everybody sins. I said, yes, that wasn't the question that was asked of me.
So to me, that exchange, like I watched the whole thing. That was probably one of the softer exchanges that you guys had. So, but to that point, you're fearless. You speak your truth unapologetically. But there has to be, we see you clearly don't give a fuck about what other people say about you, but knowing that you want this better place for your children, it has to lead with some sort of compassion for other people's feelings and how they feel.
No. You cannot feel compassion for lies, especially because they have become what they're doing now is they're wielding compassion as a sword to pass through everything that they want done. And like I said, you were going to blink, and compassion is going to end up with minor attracted peoples. Compassion is going to mean we can no longer call them pedophiles. That is what is going to happen. It is what is happening.
Can't let that happen.
We are barreling toward that. We are barreling toward that. It's so obvious because they would rather tell a lie than risk offending someone. That is the magic sauce. That is what they are doing. And these people aren't kind-hearted people that are. They're vicious.
I'm not saying you should tell a lie.
But that is what you're saying.
I'm just saying there's no point to be offensive.
But to apologize to someone for simply stating the truth. It'd be different if you said, I saw Candace at Target, which you wouldn't because Target supports trans children. But let's just...
you don't even go to Target?
No.
So you're at Walmart?
But so Walmart's good. But you just imagine, like, if I saw them at Walmart, it's a better idea. And they're just walking and their shirt says, I'm non-binary. If I went up to that person and I was like, why are you wearing that shirt? Okay, then you can say, Candace aggressed me and did something. These people are choosing to find me when I'm being asked questions. They're choosing to pursue my content so that they can feel offended. Because I'm telling the truth. Literally, I'm just telling the truth. Men, I respect. No, I don't respect. I understand that gender dysphoria has always been a thing. I always feel compassion for people with mental disorders. If you told me you had bipolar, you were schizophrenic, whatever it is. But to the extent that you're going to say, hey, Candace, I'm bipolar, and now you have to pretend that I'm not bipolar, or Candace, I'm schizophrenic, and every time I switch my personality, you have to acknowledge me according to this personality. I don't have to be crazy because you're crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. So I'm sorry that some people I'm just not sorry.
We are going to have to agree to disagree when it comes to compassion, which is fine because, again, I believe we probably have two different missions in
I think
life.
compassion is telling the truth. I believe that the greatest compassion you can give somebody is with the truth so that they can edit their lives and the only thing that's going to fix your life is truth.
She said it. She meant it. And we have one more session to go, which I really want to get into, your strength as a Black woman and origins, because I feel like that's important. Even though I know the comments is going to go crazy in this one as well. So if there's anything else that probably needs to be said, well, I'm sure we'll handle it in the next session right here on Counsel Culture.